Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tarot by Cecilia on Patreon and members only on Facebook. This is your tarot guidance for the new moon occurring at 23 degrees Aquarius on February 11th, 2021. This is one of those new moons that you would call like a standalone new moon, okay? There's nothing crazy around it, making it, really, really stressful, which is wonderful. There's no eclipse, there's no Uranus, that type of thing. But we do have a wonderful aspect to go with it. It's one of the best ones that you can have. Venus, the goddess of love and money, conjunct Jupiter, the giver of gifts and good luck. And here we are. It's only a few days until Valentine's Day, if you celebrate. And of course, this, I think, for those who are already in relationships, will really enhance it. Okay, for those who are not, still got Mercury retrograde, which is going on. I started to look at the cards here, and what I found fascinating is that even though everything's not right, and of course I think that applies to everyone, there is sort of a bookend of protection that's there, taking care of those less fortunate, that type of thing. But it definitely is a sense of protection and nurturing. Now, I'm going to jump ahead, but this is something I'll cover more in the weekly. I'll probably hold the weekly off for a day just to, give you time to digest both. But next week on the 17th, so you got all these good things going on here at the new moon, but I try to cover a 2-week period. So Saturn is going to square Uranus. Yeah, I just see, whatever's going on, it may catch you off guard, but stick with what you know. It could have you a little bit leery about what is around the next bend. I do want you to pay attention, though. What I will say about, this, Saturn and Uranus thing is that this is the first one. This is your signature aspect of the year. So whatever's going on in these next 2 weeks, it's been building, all right? And you're going to see it take place, kind of like boils over. And then it will happen again in June and September. It's very tough to make decisions during Mercury retrograde, isn't it? It's going back and forth and trying to weigh all the possibilities and choose what is right. But I'm seeing here that this is difficult at this time. All right, it really truly is. I think what's going to happen is that by the time the 2 weeks is up, something will have changed in such a manner that it changes your perspective on everything. All right, maybe not everything, but whatever this major focus is for you at this time. I do see a great deal of love, compassion, and generosity around, whether you're on the giving end or the receiving end. Okay, it really doesn't matter. It could be, a kindness as simple as letting someone pull out into the highway, or perhaps being involved with a local food bank. It could be anything. But, I think that, and I don't know how else to explain it, but when I was a little girl growing up, my father always said, be good to people, and do the right thing, because when you do, it comes back to you 100-fold. Of course, I would be here to argue with him these days and probably say that every time I have been really good to someone, it always comes back to bite me in the ass. But, here is, that generosity of spirit, and it brings forth an opportunity. So whatever happens that shakes things up, there is good news that comes from it. Right now, it's a good idea to, kind of hold your position with certain things, not to be, I want to say, frivolous, all right? Because there's a sense of optimism that comes around this new moon. And, it can cause one to be a little more, free with their money or whatever. I would say be conservative and remember the rules of Mercury retrograde. All right, there's also I feel like it's like self-criticism or even listening too much to others. All right, it can affect your mojo, and what you're doing, what you're creating, and keeping a proper balance in your space with people who are negative. They need to be like out of there, because even though this may be a good moon, you may be feeling like you're just like it's at you from all sides. It could be, perhaps you're cooped up at home, working from home, the family, the kids, the job, the pets, cooking, you name it, whatever it is that's happening there. I just feel like you need to push it a little further away. But I want to say give yourself a month, like 4 to 6 weeks, all right? And you're going to see the success that you've been trying to find, all right? I think it's just a matter of getting away from this and winding up in another retrograde free period. It'd be a whole lot easier, all right? Because you definitely are able to create, because your focus, all right, is about, it's almost like a rescue plan, okay? Trying to choose the right thing, because something's off balance, and it's putting things back into balance in the way that they should be. So it's more peaceful, okay? I have a feeling that by the time you get to, let's say, the equinox, things are really picking up, all right? So there's a lot of information that's out there, and you're going to need to sort through it. You're going to need to decide. But it feels like the decisions don't come easy right at this time, kind of wavering back and forth and being undecided. I see that everywhere. Okay, 2 weeks, there's a full moon. The full moon will be in Virgo, all right? And, at this new moon, send out there all the things that you've been working on that you want to see materialize, all right? Because I think that somewhere in March there's a turning point with some of this, all right? Because I see the separations and the celebrations. You've heard me mention that quite a few times. It's like it haunts you that you kind of go round and round with certain things, where you just don't make any progress. You know what I'm saying? Like you're always having to defend yourself, and it just seems to be over and over again. It'd be nice if you could just be invisible, but it doesn't work that way. So instead, and it's not back burner. I think that you need to be involved in what you want to make happen, even though you know that this is not the right time. There's a little voice there somewhere saying to me, new moon in Aries. And I don't know what's going on then, but I always like when we start a new astrological year and get that new energy in, because not a lot gets done when things are in Pisces, all right? Which is going to be our next stop soon. What I see here, I feel is unfortunate, okay? There are those who, have the information, they pass the information along, in such a way as to teach people. But what we see is the accusatory comments that people make, calling those who don't believe as they do, because this is about your beliefs, calling them sheeple, okay? And, that is not necessarily true. So, there's a lot of that around, and not being happy with the way things are. Focus on your jobs that you have going on your integrity. If people want to, congregate and ignore, whatever, that's on them. All right. You do what you need to do, because what I'm seeing here is what I have always, preached. It's my life mantra. Time is the most important thing we've been given. And that is something that you really dearly need to remember. But there's something going on here. And is it coming this month? Is it coming in these next 2 weeks? There's definitely something going on. I think it's coming by March. It's getting closer. All right. It's one of those things that I would have to say is going on in the background, behind the scenes, and you can't see it, where something is coming to an end, and it's going to affect your life. All right. So what I'm getting at is that it's taking place somewhere else, in someone else's life, and it will have bearing on what you do. Yeah, definitely with your relationships. Okay. A lot of that going on. Just keep, plugging away. Don't let yourself be discouraged. All right. Remain determined, because I see you here. This is in February. I want to say between July and September. Really kicking butt. Okay, you have manifested what you need to manifest. Now, I did mention somewhere in one of the recordings that I did about October, and I talked about families and more unity and the ability to come together, and that has to do with coronavirus. It's like what I feel where we're at with it. By October, there's a greater sense of normalcy, so that's a good thing. Now, you've got extra things going on to keep up with, so let's think about this for a minute in terms of the new moon with Venus conjunct Jupiter. Now, things don't always happen on the day, all right? It doesn't work that way, but very often you can go forward a couple months, maybe even 6, and boom, there it is. But it's a result of something that happened at this time. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind, that there's definitely something that's going on. But I see you, working on handling everything. There's a really big fresh start coming, I'd say by June. Okay. And all of this, wow, it feels pandemic related to me. Just the boredom, the apathy, the weight gain that so many people keep complaining about. And it's like going into a different mode. All right. Enough of that. Kind of refusing all the extra stuff. And saying, no, I gotta do this. All right, because, see, this year is an easier year. Where are we at? Mid? Yeah. By the new moon in Aries, you are not, holding that position anymore. You're moving toward your hopes and dreams. Working on getting there. I really like this, all right? So there was a lot of change that's coming over, let's say, maybe the next 8 weeks. And it may not all be good, but it's, putting you in directions that you need to go. But I also see here, and I feel like it applies to like right now, because as I am recording, it's been snowing for hours and hours. And there's a kind of like it's a restricted kind of feeling that's around, all right? Just the burden of keeping everything together. Because let's face it, I mean, weather can affect many of you in many ways. Maybe it prevents you from going to work. You've already got to deal with the pandemic. And, it's looking at here what makes you happy, all right? But it's also saying that your own ways can get in the way, all right? What you do may affect how things turn out. It's consequences is what it is. I'm not saying anybody did anything bad, but sometimes it's just bad habits, that can get in the way. Everything is going to come full circle, especially by June at the time of the solstice, all right? It's like all of this, I want to say the past 10 months or so, has been difficult. And I think this is about the intentions that you're putting forth now and what you're trying to accomplish, because there's a recovery period that's in here. And I do believe, all right, that you are able to take back your power, that type of thing. I was thinking about this morning. This is really digressing here, but, it was a reading that someone did for me a long time ago, and I really feel like it applies to right now. It's like, the crap is like done by June, and things are easing up. I forget what the exact words were that were said to me at the time, but I don't know why I was reflecting on it, and I'm seeing it here, all right? It's important to involve people, okay? Not necessarily in the sense of teamwork, but where there's nothing hidden, where there's honesty. I mean, sometimes, instead of not knowing, you need a family meeting or that type of thing. So, as I look at this, there's a lot of wisdom to be had, and a lot of this tension that's around, and it could be the divisiveness that's, just permeates everything at the moment. I see it easing up in a few months. So, whatever that takes, whatever it is that happens, it comes through change, all right? It definitely comes through change, and there is someone who's leading the charge, who's leading the change. So, however this is, playing out for you, I feel like, so you're in mid-February, and you're looking to get to like mid-June. That means a lot of change coming up in the next 4 months when you stop and think about it. All right, how you're going to address the things in your life that you don't like. It's that simple. What's your plan? Yeah, see? It's all about the recovery and how to get back. And when you think about it, this actually very much applies globally as well. So it affects everyone. Plus there's the whole trickle down to, personal situations in your own life. Yeah. So you see, I would say that even someone who's worth millions and millions of dollars is going to tell you that they're having a hard time. All right? There aren't too many people that I can think of who seem totally unaffected. All right? Because even if they don't, I think that they are aware. However, it's important not to pass by something and, miss out on it, because See, doors are going to start opening, I feel like, as early as next month. And, you know, you want to be able to explore. You want to be able to choose direction. Now, right now, some of what's happening with Mercury being retrograde is giving you a view of things from the past. And yeah, sometimes you got to look at them, but you know what? You got to like firmly push that door shut. One of the things that people need to remember is that when something or someone is in the past, that is generally where they need to remain. Okay? There aren't too many exceptions when it comes to that. But I do see you exploring, new directions. Now, you might even do that in these next couple of weeks, but I don't think you're acting on a whole lot just yet. Doing the work, getting it together, that type of thing, getting ready. But this is a very important new moon in the sense that, first of all, it's all about Aquarius and what that means for you. What do you want to make happen in your life? You've got the moon, you've got the sun, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, and Venus, all there. Okay, so covers a whole lot of topics of, and situations in your life. And, this is your moment, maybe not to initiate, like to announce to the world. Remember I said, keeping it under wraps for a little bit. But the time will come when you'll be ready to shout it out to everyone. And I think that's pretty soon. So I would get busy on it and work out the details. I want to thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care.